This video is meant for the adult action figure collector. This video is not meant for kids. So instead of pre-ordering the Action Sailor by GI-Joe Classified Series, I opted instead to update my Torpedo or Edward Leiloha figure. The base action figure or the Torpedo Edward Leiloha action figure is untouched, so I did not change any of the components of the action figure. It's just going to be the gear that is included in this menu or recipe for Kitbash. Okay, so let's identify components. So the helmet, the night vision goggles, and the ear communication device that comes from Action Force Valverse. So with the modified vest, that is Action Force Valverse. Now the MP5 submachine gun comes from GI-Joe Classified Series. So with the turbo fins, the oxygen tank, and the spear gun. And the last component for Action Force Valverse is going to be the thigh-mounted medical kit. If you are subscribed to this channel, then you are familiar with how I already featured or set up this Action Force Valverse gear set. So from a carbine setup, I converted it into a PCC or a pistol caliber carbine setup. So it was initially featured for a Action Force Valverse Duster figure, but somehow I also converted one of the gear sets and I like it better with Duster. So this gear set has been a floating piece, and I finally decided to include this with my Torpedo action figure to level him up. Instead of ordering the Action Sailor by putting on that gear or assigning that gear set to this action figure, I already elevated or saved myself $34, and I don't have to wait for the Action Sailor. I already have one on board. Okay, so for those who are new to this channel, let us explain the gear. Okay, so PCC. So this radio used to be connected to the back of the vest. So I took it off and glued it to the front. So with the wiring. So the push-to-talk system or mic now is placed up front. Okay, so we have two magazines for the MP5, two flashbangs, and I placed the knife also on this side. This knife used to be on this section. So additional pouches for tourniquet and the medical kit or the thigh-mounted medical kit, which is standard Action Force Valverse gear. So when you buy an Action Force Valverse gear set, that thing is included. Okay, so modifications to this gear. So what did I take off from the rebreather of Torpedo? Okay, so the back set is really clean and it could mount the rebreather. So actually the thing that I took off from this accessory is going to be this. So it's now directly mounted onto the vest. So just align those two holes, and actually I was really surprised that they align so well, so it's easily mounted that way. Now if you wish to have a scuba diving look or waterborne look for Torpedo, so just do this. So invert the face mask and we don't have to deal with the extra bulk of this piece. And I just put an extension, any plastic that I could find, and just glued it to that hole. So actually, yep, we have two connection points for this rebreather system that connects to this point. Okay, so you still have that function of mounting that set with torpedo. And of course, the fins. Now this is the thing that is nice with this set configuration. So let's take that rebreather off the action figure. Okay, so how did I mount those fins? So actually, if you take a look at the fins, the turbo fin set, they have a hole on the base of the foot mounting. Okay, so what is this? Actually, it's just garter. And those are part of a sewing kit, so nothing really fancy. So if you're familiar with that component, then you could just visit your sewing kit or your wife's hobby kit and take that component off. So actually, the fins would just slip in on that hole, easily mounted, and they disappear. Actually, very micro component that actually looks good. So you could fully mount your rebreather, you could put the helmet on, and have all of the accessories mounted onto the action figure. Okay, if you want a diving setup or diorama for torpedo, then of course you're going to use the main weaponry for underwater or waterborne operation. So this gets into storage, and this easily stores on the back of the rebreather. So this component is still there. Actually, the weapon system, this comes with the original torpedo figure, but of course, who is going to use a compact or subcompact 308 battle rifle into waterborne operations? This is just way too heavy. Okay, so something like this is in order. Mission dictates gear. Okay, so this easily holds on to that weapon system. So either way you want to mount it, it's going to fit and stay. And how does it look? Mount it to the back of the action figure. There you go. So nice, slick, and very mission specific. Of course, 308 rounds and the rifle itself, that's a very weighty system. So if you're waterborne operation, then something like an MP5 is in order, plus 2 additional 30 round magazines. So that is not very weighty. So as you could see, we no longer have any sidearm. Of course, we are thinking about the weight for the mission of this guy. So very easy explanation as to my choice of components for this Kitbash build. Very specific. Mission dictates gear. So he has 2 magazines for his main weapon, which stores nicely on the back. We still have a combat knife, which you could easily take off. So I also have this knife, which is attached to my fighting kit. So Gerber strong arm. So knife, he easily could control his radio on this side instead of having it on the back. And he has 2 flash bangs. And if you wish to take off that component, you could take off that, take off this, and you could store this, and you could have Torpedo holding on to the MP5. And of course, no seal would leave his fin or turbo fins behind, so he could leave this component, but he's not going to leave the fins behind. It's always, if it's going to be waterborne operations or riverine operations, then the fins are a must have for a seal. So it's either tied to the belt or attached to the vest. So just in case he needs to go back to the water or seek refuge underwater, then could just immediately get hold of these fins. So very easy explanation as to, once again, mission dictates gear. So if you like this review and I really had fun with this Kitbash, like, comment, and subscribe to help me grow my channel. And see you on the next action figure or custom action figure review.